It's 4:30 a.m. on April 16th, 1945, during the brutal Battle of Okinawa, and aboard the destroyer USS Laffey, a young sailor struggles to keep his eyes open at his radar station when suddenly the screen lights up with multiple enemy contacts appearing just 20 miles out before turning away again, a pattern the Japanese have repeated all night to exhaust the American crew and keep them perpetually on edge for the inevitable attack they know is coming. The Japanese have been conducting psychological warfare, poking into radar range just enough to trigger battle stations, and then retreating, wearing down the Americans who understand they're positioned as a radar picket ship directly in the path between mainland Japan and the ongoing Okinawa operations, making them the first target every Japanese fighter, bomber, and kamikaze pilot sees on their suicide runs, a position that has already cost multiple American ships heavy casualties from. Kamikaze strikes. Commander F. Julian Becton orders his exhausted crew to rotate positions as needed while maintaining constant vigilance, taking some comfort in knowing 3 divisions of F4U Corsairs, nicknamed the Grim Reapers, are flying protective cover above them. But at 7:30 a.m., everything goes catastrophically wrong when radio contact with the Corsairs is suddenly and inexplicably lost, leaving the Laffey completely vulnerable and alone. The radar operator's voice cuts through the bridge with words that chill everyone to the bone.
Huge enemy formation coming from the north.
Becton stares at the radar screen in horror, later writing that it had so many dots it looked like an advanced case of chickenpox, and immediately orders all hands to battle stations,
man your battle stations immediately,
while desperately trying to re-establish contact with the missing Corsairs. From the massive enemy formation, 6 kamikaze aircraft peel off and begin circling the Laffey like sharks, and when 2 suddenly dive in from 11 miles out,
danger ahead,
Becton orders flanking speed and prepares the main battery while his crew grips their weapons, listening to the distant rumble of engines growing louder with each passing second, until at 7 miles out he gives the order to fire. The ship's powerful 5-inch guns boom to life, filling the sky with deadly flak as the first kamikaze charges through the explosions until a direct hit from a 5-inch shell disintegrates it into a fireball. But immediately a second plane charges through the smoke, and despite being shredded by 40mm and 20mm guns, it refuses to fall until finally ripping apart just 3,000 yards from the ship. 2 more Japanese planes appear off the stern flying at wavetop height, and as the 5-inch guns depress so low they nearly blast their own anti-aircraft crews with muzzle blast, Becton frantically maneuvers to bring more weapons to bear, managing to destroy both attackers. But the final 2 kamikazes of the initial 6 split up and attack from port and starboard simultaneously in a coordinated strike. The starboard plane is torn to flaming pieces, but the Americans have focused too much firepower on that side, and the portside kamikaze accelerates through lighter resistance, strafing the deck with machine gun fire and killing exposed sailors before becoming a flaming wreck that gravity pulls inexorably toward the ship despite desperate evasive maneuvers, finally slamming into the sea with a massive explosion that sends deadly shrapnel across the deck. After 7 eternal minutes of relative calm, where the crew drags wounded to the infirmary and tries to process what just happened, another enemy Valdive bomber turns toward them, and Becton presents his broadside to maximize defensive fire, engaging in a deadly game of cat and mouse as he constantly changes course to keep the bridge out of the enemy's flight path, while his guns pour fire into the incredibly resilient aircraft that somehow keeps flying despite numerous hits. The gun captain is working from atop his 5-inch turret when one barrel stops elevating, and without time for proper repairs, he jumps down with a hammer to physically pound the mechanism back into working order. But while he's doing this, the kamikaze gives up on the bridge and dives for the main deck, crashing directly onto the gun turret and missing the gun captain by just 2 seconds as flaming gasoline floods across the deck. Before they can even begin fighting those fires, another fighter appears from port where damaged guns can't track it, forcing the 40mm gunners to save the entire ship single-handedly, which they do by detonating the enemy in mid-air just 200 yards away. But their celebration is cut short when the 9th Japanese plane comes skimming the waves on the port side where the damaged 5-inch guns can't engage it, leaving only the smaller weapons to desperately try stopping the inevitable. The kamikaze crashes into the superstructure behind a 40mm gun, its wing ripping off, and spraying flaming fuel everywhere, while the rest of the airframe tumbles off the starboard side and detonates in the water, setting ammunition crates ablaze that begin cooking off with loud explosions, while brave sailors rush to contain the catastrophic fire. Another Val attacks the now defenseless stern, smashing into it and devastating the interior. Then another drops a bomb that takes out the ship's rudder and locks it in a perpetual 26-degree turn to port, robbing Becton of the ability to maneuver, while more kamikazes continue diving in from the circling swarm overhead. Two more planes slam into the crippled stern in quick succession, killing dozens and spreading deadly fires. Though one bomb miraculously fails to explode, and sailors manage to pick it up and throw it overboard before it detonates.